Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. This is my next video. Now the reason I've been making this one is I actually came across a guy, and I'm about to bring his picture up right here, right now, in a couple of seconds. His name is David Hogg. Now this guy was apparently, ousted from the Democratic Party from his position because he started raising concerns. And I actually did some reading up on this guy. He seems legit, man. Like, I feel like they really have a problem with him because he actually does want change, and he actually speaks on this in this video. And I'm gonna give you guys a couple examples about just how much the Democratic just getting the fuck out. Honestly, like, nobody wants to stay there. Now they keep having all these commercials about people wanting to go out and vote, and honestly, that just wasn't the vibe of this last election. I straight up watched it. Everybody was up all in their own little world, honestly, just going about their day by day, and trying to get their bills paid, trying to feed their kids, trying to figure out what the fuck they're gonna do, because shit is just so expensive, man. I know if you watching or listening, you have some type of issue, whether it be financial or mental. So the reason I just started making these videos is to just give you a little more clarity, because we all got shit that we got to handle in the world. You can't always pause to stop to read, especially when these people move so fast, and we're in a time where it's hard to keep people's attention for a very long time. So that's why they just opted out to just not saying shit. And that's why they write these articles. So that's why I took it in my time to read up on this election that just passed on both sides. And I just give you my honest take on it. Like, just recording this, I'm just going raw. I didn't have no script written down, so I'm just going off my opinion and a couple of facts that I found out. So without further ado, I'm gonna let the video run. I'm gonna just give you examples, and I'll touch back on you guys when the clip is done.
Did you beat her fair and square? Was there any fire there?
There was the election that the DNC held, and I was the person that was one of the people that won one of the three positions that they had for the at-large vice chairs.
So what was her claim?
Part of the claim, so not to bore people, but to get into the bureaucracy of the DNC, we have a gender balance rule at the DNC because, of course, we do.
Okay. See, right away.
By the way, the Republican Party does too. If the chair is a male, then the vice chair has to be a female.
Well, what's interesting is that's even more progressive than our vision, which is that the chair doesn't count towards the gender balance rule that we have. Frankly, I don't even know if it makes sense for us to have the gender balance rule anymore in this day and age, because I want to focus on whoever's just best at the job.
Great.
At this point, that's my own view.
Terrific.
By the way, I support what you're doing with respect to the primaries, because I can tell you, having been in politics for quite a while, I started as an intern for McCain, some of these people don't know when it's time to go.
They don't.
Chuck Schumer has been in elected office for 50 years. 1974, he was first elected. 50 years. AOC will absolutely kick his ass in a primary. She is the leader of the Democratic Party in this moment, and will continue to be, I think, the biggest driver of where the party goes from a governmental policy standpoint. And that drives many of my colleagues crazy. But the fact is, she has tapped into the base of support within the Democratic Party. And you see the juxtaposition between her and Chuck Schumer. I'm writing a strongly worded letter. Oh, sit the fuck down, Chuck. It's time.
But that's why you won.
Yeah.
In that district that that's why you won.
Purple as they come.
Well, right, because the people, they didn't want to vote for Donald Trump, but they're not out there on the far left either.
No.
Right?
They want balance. They want common sense. They want people who are serious about getting the job done. For my district, my biggest issue, lifting the cap on salt and providing real tax relief to people, protecting critical services like Medicaid. And we're going through this debate, and I'm fighting with leadership, and I'm fighting with the administration to make sure we don't gut these vital programs. That's what people want. They just want you to do the damn job and go home.
Get out the way. Get out the way.
All right. What is it?
I think there's one thing I wanted to tell you.
If you want to beat Republicans, of which of course lefties never do, they never even run against them. That's one thing. I'm not into beating Democrats. I'm into beating Republicans.
James, I would say, first of all, I am not to be a vice chair. The vice chair role is not a paid role at all. It's a volunteer role. What I would also say to that is that I think it's possible for us to do two things at once. We do, at my organization, Leaders We Deserve, support challenging Republicans that are in very vulnerable seats. And last cycle, we helped to break the majority for Democrats to have a one-seat majority in the Virginia state legislature by spending $100,000 to do that. We spent $100,000 to support the candidate who broke the supermajority in North Carolina. We spent $1 million on frontline races that were critical to helping break majorities in states around the country and also reduce the size of Republican majorities that they have there, even if they didn't end up breaking the majority in total. And I think what we need to do right now is both things. We need to make sure that people have the strongest representation possible. Like, James, I imagine that you think that Hakeem Jeffries is doing a relatively good job, right?
Well, it doesn't matter that I think he is. I think he's doing fine, but the caucus thinks he is. You know, I was invited to speak to the caucus, I don't know, 5 or 6 weeks ago. And my job, I think about to the extent I have one, is to beat Republicans. And I just will tell you right to your face, I think it's abominable that you have anything to do with the DNC and you're going to go and raise $20 million to beat other Democrats. I don't think other Democrats are the problem we have in the United States today. I think it's Republicans, and I think all of our efforts and all of our force should be going to elect Republicans.
James, I think
So that's basically it in a nutshell. And honestly, it's shit like that that makes people not want to vote. That's why I didn't vote in the last election, and that's why I kind of just kept my head down, because everybody keeps saying how they're going to change things, and they just talk a bunch of shit and don't fix anything. I'm going to let the rest of the video run and let you decide.
Okay, I think we should signal to young people that they're there, but I don't think the way to do that is to run against other Democrats, particularly other Democrats in swing districts. That's my whole. All of that pontificating about we need better bubbles, fine. But the role of the Democratic Party is not to beat other Democrats; is to beat other Republicans. That is my sole issue with what you're doing, David. Most of this, if we talk 85% of the things you want, I want the same thing.
right.
Well, we just will have a fundamental ethical difference on being an official in the Democratic Party and raising $20 million to beat other Democrats.
And that's why. The fuck? Like, come on. You're not trying to change anything. You're not open to change. It's like talking to my grandfather, and I love him to death, but it's like, yo, man, times change. You got to change with them or just get out the way. So I'm going to let the rest of this video rock. I got some more examples.
Give them the advantages.
Exactly.
Because young people think they're totally fucked in this society.
They do.
And they are. And Galloway, if you watch that Scott Galloway TED Talk,
Of course.
it's utterly brilliant. Utterly brilliant.
Depressing.
And that's why I love my grandfather to death, because sometimes, man, he will tell the truth. And we can't just discourage our old people, because that's the thing. They have fucking wisdom. It's certain shit that we just don't know that they already touched on. But it's at a certain age, it's like, all right, your wisdom starts to fade, and maybe you should put that elsewhere. Here's another example.
These elections that are helping to elect, specifically deciding the presidential, are low propensity, low information voters that are predominantly getting their information from social media. It's a lot of younger people too who don't necessarily have a college degree. And I think part of what we need to do is make sure that we are giving people something to vote for. And right now, with our approval ratings being where they are in the Democratic Party, what I would like to know from you, James, is what do you think that we need to do to improve that? Because I worry if we don't address the approval rating that we have right now from our own base, it's going to be a lot harder to win back the House. So what do we do to address that?
Well, first of all, what I do is Governor Spanberger's campaign asked me to send out solicitations and to communicate with other Democrats in support of her. So I'm obviously happy to do this, as do, despite of the fact that I'm washed up. I'd like to give you a list of the names of campaigns that asked me to send out things on their behalf and raise money. But that's not the case. I'm for all of that, okay? And I'm for I think people like you, and you're right. We
See, now that's what I fuck with. At least they're getting some type of change done. And maybe it takes conversations like that to actually make changes. I mean, I don't know these guys too well. I just started doing research on them. I know they're both Democrats, but honestly, at the end of the day, it's just certain shit that needs to change. And if they do change it, like David said earlier on the Bill Maher interview, or I hope I'm saying that right, just get somebody who can do the job. I don't even care who it is. You could be white, you could be black, you could be a female. Hey, man, just do your fucking job. That's what we want. Y'all have a good one.